Well, there's a lot of support coming in for the protesting women wrestlers now who've accused the former Wrestling Federation chief and BJP MP Brij Bhushan Singh of sexual harassment and molestation. The latest group of sports stars, and these are the biggest that India have ever had, members of the 83 World Cup winning side, have come out with a statement now saying that there must be justice in this case. Joining us, one of India's great champions from the 83 team, Kirti Azad. Mr. Azad, thanks very much for being with us. Do you believe that justice delayed is justice denied, or do you believe, as some would suggest, that there is a process and the law must be believed for action to take place?
Well, yes, we believe in the law of the country, no doubt, but we also realize the kind of emotions the sportswomen must have gone through when ultimately they must have been so frustrated and dejected when they wanted to drop their medals into the river Ganga at Haridwar. It's not that we blame anybody. It was they went to the government first believing in the government.
Yeah.
And rightly a committee was formed under the legendary Mary Kom, who's won 6 world titles at boxing. And 30 days limit was given. Unfortunately, nothing happened. They went to the police to file their FIRs, and they had to go and knock the doors of the Supreme Court to get their FIRs lodged. 2 FIRs were lodged. One was under POXO. And POXO is a law, I remember, if you remember the Nirbhaya case, when all that happened, the way you all fought for justice for Nirbhaya, who died, the dastardly act that took against her, and the act came in, where it says that if anybody is, there's an FIR under POXO, then you have to be arrested immediately. That didn't happen. So there is a big question mark whether the law will take its own course.
How would you respond to those? And I just want to assert right off the top that this is not an opinion I share at all. But there are those who say that this is an incident, or these were a series of incidents, some of which took place 7 years ago. Why didn't they complain earlier on? Why is this happening now? Is there some linkage with politics or anything of that sort? How would you respond to those who say this?
When we won the World Cup in 1983, we didn't win it for Indira Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister. We won it for the country. Same way, these wrestlers didn't win it for the Prime Minister of India, but they won it for the nation. They are pride of the nation. Hence, if somebody says this is political, there is a big question mark, because sports and sportsmen don't belong to any caste, creed, religion, region. They belong to their team. They belong to their nation. So it's very unfortunate that somebody says it's political, because we all may be politicians, maybe apolitical, maybe journalists, maybe doctors, maybe engineers, but we all take pride in watching IPL, watching the badminton players, the boxers, the wrestlers. Yeah. We watch them all. We love them all. And it's not only the government which does it. So I suppose everybody stands in solidarity that justice should be meted out to them.
The other point is that Brij Bhushan Sharan has, he stepped aside in terms of his working from the wrestling authority, from the wrestling federation. As a first step, do you believe that that is good enough, or do you believe he should have been sacked or resigned altogether?
I'm not going into any of those personal matters. I'm saying, when you say law will take its own course, what about the POXO Act? What about arrest at the rate? Leave everything, forget everything. There was a minor who complained. Then you said that they did it after 7 years. Yes, they were scared. They are women. You understand the kind of society that we have in India. And to strengthen the women, to give them the strength, to give them the real boost that you want to, you should take immediate action. It's 6 months.
Again, a perspective being raised is that these medals don't belong to them, it belongs to India, and it's not for them to just throw them away.
I do agree with you. But they are the pride of the nation. They won it for us. They both are the pride for us. These medals are theirs and of the nations. We can't say it's not theirs, but it's of the nation. It's theirs. They won it. You go, you contest. It's your hard sweat and toil that you do on the field. You work really hard for it. And then 1 out of 100, a team or an individual wins it. So obviously, it's your hard work that has done it. And the entire nation feels pride of the fact, because even the Prime Minister called them, had a live meeting, and there was interviews going on. Even Mr. Khattar, who is the Chief Minister of Haryana, made Sakshi Malik the brand ambassador for Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and not even a single tweet.
Do you believe that the structure of our sporting federations, and it's not just wrestling, it's across the board, where we've had, people in, in these positions of power, where they believe that they have some sort of a birthright to run it the way they want, to do whatever it is that they want, which in this case is allegedly dealing with these women with immunity extending to sexual violation. Do you believe that there needs to be greater accountability in sporting federations?
Yes, there is supposed to be a disciplinary committee. There has to be sexual harassment committee. They are there in all international federations. They are there in all central boards, and you have to have it. But unfortunately, the wrestling board doesn't have it. There are so many other associations who don't have this sexual harassment team comprising of 3 or 4 or 5 members, which have to be 2 internal, 2 from outside, and 1 expert. It's not there. That's an unfortunate part. That is what I read in the newspapers, that the Wrestling Federation of India doesn't have it. So it is an integral part. And all this came in after the Nirbhaya and other harassment cases that have come up before.
Is it not frightening? And you talk about Nirbhaya repeatedly, and it's something that I have personally covered very, very closely, all of those laws. That so many years after Nirbhaya, Kirti, something like this, if the allegations are true, can take place with immunity, because despite India having some of the most progressive rape laws in the world, this sort of thing can happen at the highest level. These are our superstars,
Yes.
And if these allegations are correct, it just goes to show that there's no respect for the law.
Well, I would say that it may have been political. I'm saying hypothetically. If, say, maybe 1 or 2 might have filed a case due to maybe some animosity, or somebody might have encouraged them to do so. But here you have 7 of them, and 1 is a minor, and all give you explicit details. And I'm not going to talk about what I read in a daily newspaper this morning about, that kind of language that has been used in the FIRs is something will put any country to shame. And then with nothing coming out, it definitely is a big question mark on the integrity.
I think the other point that needs to be stressed is, again, directed at those who say that, it happened 7 years ago, what were they doing for 7 years? That is not the basis of assuming that the allegations are false. You don't necessarily come out and go to the police because of a concentration of power, of feeling intimidated, of working or being part of a system which is oppressive. If they've done it 7 years or 70 years later, it doesn't matter. It's about seeking justice. Therefore, if the allegations are true, it doesn't matter that it's happened or they've come out now. It's as valid a complaint.
A criminal case can be filed whenever. There is no timeline to it. And at that time, they were minors. They had won the Olympic medals, or they were going to be selected in the side. And the kind of society that we still have in India, where these women feel really scared of the fact of going to the people that they might get penalized, which is happening with them in turn today. Can you imagine what would have happened in 2016? So there is a big question mark as to really where we are coming from. Why are the women afraid? And first of all, why should they be afraid? And why should people like Mr. Singh take advantage of women, or people like him?
Is it your worry, Kirti, that even if the allegations are true, the onus of providing evidence will be very difficult?
First of all, in the POCSO, the accused should have been arrested. Whether you get it or not is a different point. The point is that if you want to find evidence, you have 6 to 7 wrestlers, one being a minor. Situation and date, when and how it happened. Now, what kind of evidence do you need? We have these old IPCs that have been going on, is 150 years old, made by the British. You show me the man, I show you the rule. And that is what is happening. Those times when you remember, there was this accident case by Salman Khan, and then only there was 304A added to it. Otherwise, it was culpable homicide not amounting to murder, because only the British or the landlords or the kings had cars and nobody else had. So laws were made accordingly 150 years ago. So it is as simple today. You show me the man, I show you the rule. because even the rules are not being followed, the laws are not being followed of POCSO.
A final question to you, Kirti. Does this entire episode sicken you to the core, to the stomach?
Don't ask me how I feel about it, because when I saw that there were these women wrestlers who were being dragged brutally, mercilessly, and when they ultimately lost all faith and hope in our laws of the nation and got frustrated and were dropping the medals in the Ganga. Stick is the understatement of the decade.
Kirti Azad, thank you very much for speaking to us and expressing all of your views there. Thank you very much indeed.